Houston, we'd like to just get a big picture sync across the crew right now.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Let's just sync up so we know where we are. Ike and I are in seats 1 and 2. We are fully suited. We do not have umbilicals connected. And we are in suit on vehicle config step 5, and we are holding there. And then Christina and Jeremy are suiting up on a nominal suit up right now. We believe that's where they should be. Christina has not begun suiting yet, so I think we need to know from you if you could take the operational lead and start walking us through where these two distinct groups should be, Victor and I, and Christina and Jeremy.
Copy, Integrity crew. You are all where we expected you to be. Jeremy and Christina can continue pressing with the nominal suit on, and we will have you and Victor pick up with commanding umbilicals to perform the first leak check with 2 crew members. And remember, I have a delta for you on the visors open vent path.
We will always vent overboard today. Stand by.
Good words.
All right, Jenny, I just confirmed that you want Ike and I to run 22.2.101 suit on vehicle config for the first 2 crew member leak check. We are not running this from the DFTO, and we will vent overboard.
Affirm.
Okay, thank you.
Now that Victor Glover and Reed Wiseman are suited and in their seats, they are going to step through the leak check procedures. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is a demonstration of the crew putting on their suits on the Orion spacecraft. They would need to do this on orbit if there were a depressurization of the cabin. Otherwise, they wear them during launch and entry. Everything we learned today helps us prepare for future crews to fly on Artemis. And we expect the team to be calling down questions and reports of their status as they move throughout the procedure. With Reed Wiseman and Victor Glover suited and in their seats with leak checks beginning, Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen, mission specialists for the mission, are continuing to put on their suits. 2 crew members, obviously the commander and the pilot, were asked to put on their suits in a rapid fashion, while our mission specialists were instructed to put on their suits with a normal timeline. Today we are going to be pressurizing the suits to 4.3 psi, on top of the cabin being at 10.2 psi. When the suits are pressurized, they do gain a little bit of volume. You're looking at a live view of Artemis Mission Control here at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. This is the Orbit 1 team on console.
Houston, seats 1 and 2, leak check complete.
We see the same.
That voice, our capsule communicator for today, Jenny Gibbons, Canadian Space Agency astronaut, and Artemis 2 crew backup. To her right is Tess Caswell, fellow Capcom.
Houston, just confirm for me and Victor, the next step is to go back to step 5 and suit on vehicle config and hold for seats 3 and 4.
Affirm Reed, once Jeremy and Christina are suited, we will have them join you for the next leak check. Your procedure path is correct.
We copy, thanks.
Flight Director Jeff Radigan in red on your screen, leading the Orbit 1 team. Just heard communications from Commander Reed Wiseman aboard the Orion spacecraft, calling down that suit leak checks are complete for he and NASA astronaut Victor Glover, pilot of Artemis 2. Meanwhile, aboard the Orion spacecraft, mission specialists Jeremy Hansen and Christina Cook continue to get suited ahead of getting in their seats for their own leak checks as part of this demonstration.
Jenny, do you need something different on HHB? I think I can reach it from here and try to re-aim it.
Affirm, if you can reach it, we will take a tilt downward toward the lockers, please. Reed, we like that view. Thank you. Integrity crew, I see Jeremy and Christina nearing the end of their suit dawn. I just want to remind you about the gas trap, which needs to be capped 5 minutes after the last crew member connects to cooling. Please let us know when that's complete.
We got you covered, Jenny. Thanks for the reminder.
Thank you, Reed.
seat 4, comm check.
Seat 4, we have you loud and clear. How me?
I have you the same.
Houston, integrity, C3, comm check.
Seat 3, welcome to the party. We have you loud and clear. How me?
Loud and clear, Jenny.
This is Artemis Mission Control with a mission elapsed time of 3 days, 22 hours, and 29 minutes into the flight of Orion. Currently, the crew members aboard the spacecraft are conducting the Ox suit demo. That's Orion Crew Survival System. As you can see, they have put on their international orange suits. These are worn during launch as well as during re-entry, and they would be worn if needed during a cabin depressurization. So this test is to help teams understand how those procedures would need to go should we ever encounter such an event on this or future missions. We've had 4 good communications checks with the crew members now in their suits. Both Reed Wiseman and Victor Glover are in their seats as well. They were part of a rapid don, or quickly putting on their spacesuits, while mission specialists Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen were instructed to put on their suits at a normal pace.
we've been uncooling for 5 minutes, so we're going to swap the QD.
Copy, thank you.
Houston Integrity, we have all PCDs stowed, so Jenny, you got the lead.
Copy, all PCDs stowed. Once Jeremy and Christina are complete, we can ensure that their Cobra fittings are connected, and then we can move on to leak checks.
This is Artemis Mission Control. The crew aboard the Orion spacecraft, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen, continue through the Ox suit demo. That's the Orion Crew Survival System suit. Those orange suits you see the crew in now. Both Commander Reed Wiseman and pilot Victor Glover have ingressed or gotten into their seats. They have also performed comm checks and suit leak checks. Mission specialists Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen donned or put on their suits in a normal speed, whereas our commander and pilot were asked to do so at a rapid speed. They have also completed communications checks. The crew wears these suits during launch and return to Earth. They are not expected to wear them during the flight. However, they would be available for use during the event of a cabin depressurization. They could provide up to 6 days of a breathable environment for this crew member. So given that this is a test flight, we are taking the opportunity to test how they would get into these suits and pressurize them during that situation. As you can see, those suits are pressurized a little bit, how they've expanded. The crew is conducting leak checks aboard those suits right now.
our suits. Leak check complete.
Copy. We see the same.
And Jenny, I think now you want us back in the DFTO procedure, correct?
Affirm. We have you back in the aux suit DFTO procedure. You've just performed your leak checks. The next step should be for the LCGQD, which you've already completed, and then you will get into some commanding in the suit DFTO vehicle config.
Yeah, what step in aux suit DFTO should we be in?
Step 5.7, moving into 5.8. That's instruction 52 in the aux suit DFTO.
Okay, we're in 5.7.
Copy. That's a good spot.
That's the voice of Commander Reed Wiseman speaking from the Orion spacecraft. They are conducting the aux suit DFTO. That's Orion Crew Survival System suit. We just had confirmation all 4 suit leak checks are complete.
All right, Jenny, we are in 5.8. We're going to 22.2.199, steps 1 through 12.
That's the right place to go. Thank you.
All of the numbers you hear reported by the ground team and the crew are in reference to a specific set of procedures. This helps keep...
Before we start pressurizing, I don't have any awareness of timeline and next steps. So before we go visors down and pressurize, why don't we get a quick crew sync?
Copy. Stand by 1.
Again, all the numbers you hear, the crew calling down or the ground calling up, keep everyone on the same timeline as they are referencing the same set of procedures throughout this demonstration.
And Integrity Crew, we are still talking about what objectives we are going to complete with a shortened timeline. We do want to keep the controlled depress in place because we want to get ranging data in time for OTC3. So we are talking a pared down objective timeline for you. IVA is just getting it together, so we'd like to proceed with the suit DFTO vehicle config, and I'll have words for you soon, but you can all expect a shortened timeline.
Okay, we're getting into 22.2.199.
Copy and concur. Integrity Crew, Houston, we are having some discussions here on the ground and coming up with your forward timeline. We want to make sure you're not waiting for us and you are ready to proceed with visors closed when you are ready.
Yep, Bay Farm, we're just troubleshooting one thing and then we'll be ready.
Copy. Sounds great to us. Thank you.
All right, Houston, we're picking up in instruction 21 now.
We copy.
This is Artemis Mission Control at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, with a mission elapsed time of 3 days, 22 hours. 3 days and counting up to 23 hours. The crew aboard the Orion spacecraft is currently in one of their main timelined activities for today. That's the OX suit demo. OX stands for Orion Crew Survival System. Those are the orange suits you see the crew in now. They're also the suits that they wore on launch and that you'll see again in re-entry. All 4 crew members are now in their suits and have completed suit comm check and leak checks. Next up, we will be pressurizing the suits. We are going to pressurize those to 4.3 psi. Again, this is all in support of future missions to the moon. These suits could be worn.
All right, Jenny, we're in the purge. How's everything looking on your end?
It's looking great. Continue.
These suits could be worn in the event of a depressurization aboard the Orion spacecraft, and today gives us the opportunity to learn how they would get into their suits while in the microgravity environment, and of course, get in their seats for a return home. Also on the timeline for today is the OTC-3 burn. We expect that around 10:03 p.m. Central Time today. This is a small burn with the reaction control system thrusters on the spacecraft, and OTC stands for Outbound Trajectory Correction. We schedule these throughout the mission in case we need to refine our path around the moon and on the way back home. We canceled the first 2 outbound trajectory correction burns, deeming them not necessary ahead of today. We are going to keep the OTC-3 burn on the timeline for this afternoon, ahead of tomorrow's lunar flyby.
Integrity crew, everything is still looking really good down here. We're loving getting this data. I plan to reconfigure you to be Vox before increasing your suit pressure. Let me know if you want to be Vox earlier so you can stop pushing buttons.
We'll continue in this mode for now until the pressure goes up.
Copy. We'll let you know when that's about to happen and when we do a reconfig of your Vox.
In Houston, our suit Delta P is dropping in the purge here. Is that expected?
Checking. Reed, this is expected. We are in the last 45 seconds of the purge where the pressure will decrease in your suit.
Okay, we're in finishing up 3.2 now, moving to step 4.
Copy. We see you there.
3, performing the purge to the cabin. Confirm you want this short purge, short cabin sequence.
Affirm.
Copy that. That's going in.
Integrity crew, 2 minutes left on the purge.
We're watching. check in with you prior to proceeding.
Copy, we're talking. And integrity, we need a minute or two here to talk the forward plan. We expect to just take a couple minutes more, but I'll be back with you shortly. Let's sit tight for now, please.
Sounds good.
All right, Integrity crew, thanks for your patience. We've had a discussion down here, and we have decided to defer the controlled cabin depress to 10-2, which was after the suit DFTO, to later in the mission, so that we can prioritize getting our objectives done while you are suited and pressurized. When you are ready, we plan to take you to Vox before proceeding with the next step. And I want to let you know that when you're uncomfortable commanding, please let us know and we will take over, else we expect to take over by step 10 in this procedure.
Okay, Jenny, sounds great, and we are ready for Vox.
Copy. We will put Vox in work. All right, Integrity crew, you are Voxed and go to continue with the procedure. Pick up in step 5.
This is Artemis Mission Control at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. Currently, the teams on the ground are increasing pressure in the Orion Crew Survival System suits. Currently, their audio is only available to teams here on the ground in Mission Control. We want them to be able to transparently describe what they are experiencing as they move through their procedures. As you can see, our 4 crew members aboard Orion are currently seated and, they are currently suited. 2 are in their seats. That would be Commander Reed Wiseman and pilot Jeremy Hansen. They are stepping through the procedures of the Orion Crew Survival System demo. This is to test how the suits would perform if we were in a depressurization event and the crew needed to get into their suits in order to have a breathable environment. We did have good suit leak checks on all 4 suits as well as communication checks. However, communications with the crew right now is only available here in Mission Control. We want the crew to be able to speak transparently about how they are stepping through these procedures. As part of this test, we have vented some of the cabin pressure overboard. It is now 11.0 psi inside the cabin. cabin is pressurized at 11.1 psi and the suits are at 3.8 psi. When suits are pressurized, it makes it more difficult for the crew to work in the cabin. Therefore, they agreed that the ground is able to take over commanding in the spacecraft. Again, today we are conducting a demonstration of these crew survival system suits. Now that the suits are pressurized, it can be more difficult for the astronauts to maneuver about the cabin. They are obviously also connected to umbilicals, which make another hurdle into moving around the spacecraft. as previously mentioned, we are in the Orion Crew Survival System suit demonstration. The crew would need to get into these suits in the event of a depressurization of the spacecraft. They'd be able to stay in these suits for up to 6 days in a breathable environment. Pressurized suits, however, do make it a little more difficult to conduct tasks and move about the cabin. For this demonstration, the ground has agreed they will decrease the pressure in both Commander Reed Wiseman and Pilot Victor Glover's suits slightly to help them get out of their seats and conduct some other tasks. Again, you're not hearing their communications right now. That's just coming to Mission Control Houston to allow them to speak, to allow the astronauts to speak openly with the flight controllers here. This is Artemis Mission Control, now 3 days, 23 hours, and 36 minutes since the launch of Orion atop the Space Launch System spacecraft. This is a live view inside Orion. Our 4 crew members are currently conducting an Ox suit demo, Orion Crew Survival Suit System. These are the suits that the crew wears during launch and will wear again during re-entry, and they would have the opportunity to use these if needed during a cabin depressurization. Being in these suits would provide the crew with up to 6 days of a safe breathing environment. Being that this is a test flight, it's our first opportunity for the crew to get into these suits while in a microgravity environment. This is helping us prepare for future missions around the moon with Artemis, as well as for the end of this own mission when the crew will need to get suited up ahead of their journey home. Crew audio is currently only available in Mission Control Houston, allowing the crew members to speak extemporaneously with the ground control teams. There are some plans for the crew to conduct tasks while in their suits today. Currently, the team is lowering the pressure slightly in Commander Reed Wiseman and Pilot Victor Glover's suits to allow them to more easily get out of their seats. When suits are pressurized, it does make it more difficult to move about the cabin and accomplish some of the tasks we're looking to do today. in Mission Control Houston, teams continue lowering the pressure inside Commander Reed Wiseman and pilot Victor Glover's suits during this demonstration test. This should help them be able to maneuver out of their seats and get to work on some of the tasks we hope to see them accomplish while they are suited. You're looking at a live view inside the Orion spacecraft. The spacecraft and crew are on flight day 5, now 52,600 miles from the moon. They are 223,909 miles away from us all on Earth. our crew members are stepping through the Orion Crew Survival System suit procedures. This is a test of the suits while they are pressurized on the Orion spacecraft. These suits serve as the launch and re-entry suits for the crew. You probably saw them in this international orange on launch day. However, these suits, as is listed in their name, survival, are also available for survival situations. If the cabin were to be depressurized, these suits could provide the crew with breathing air for 6 days. This is a test flight, and so we are using this day as a test of these suits in such an environment. Now they are depressurizing Victor Glover and Reed Wiseman's suits just a little bit more to allow them to move out of their seats. When the suits are pressurized, it makes it more difficult to move inside the spacecraft. We have some other tasks we hope to see the crew complete today, including using the pill tool. There is a small port on the side of the helmet where the astronauts can insert what looks like a straw and allows them to take medicine if needed while they would be in this situation. Of course, any pill taken today is simply a placebo for the purposes of the test. We also hope to see them eat and drink through that same port. This is one of the biggest parts of their timeline today. However, we do anticipate the outbound trajectory correction burn this evening actually, at 10:03 p.m. Central Time. This will be using the reaction control system thrusters on the spacecraft. These trajectory correction burns are simply refinements of Orion's flight path. We did cancel the first 2 of those as we felt like they were not needed following the translunar injection burn. But this will help us further refine our trajectory ahead of tomorrow's lunar flyby. Crew communications right now is only coming to Mission Control Houston. As we are testing this out for the very first time, we want the crew to be able to share transparently what steps they are moving through and what they're experiencing while in these suits. Once this demonstration is complete, we will make sure to put their audio back on the broadcast. This is Artemis Mission Control, and we continue to monitor this Ox suit demo. Meanwhile, teams at Johnson Space Center and Mission Management are preparing for today's mission status briefing. If you're watching on NASA's YouTube, you can stay right here. You'll be able to see that live. If you are interested in solar array wing views, you can tune in on our other stream. That's where commentary will continue. Again, standing by, that mission status briefing is scheduled to start in 4 minutes at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. that's where commentary
The Artemis 2 mission is a test mission of the Orion space capsule.
Artemis 2 will be the first time we put humans on this rocket.
We're going back to the moon because it's the next step in our journey to Mars.
We were always going to the moon.
Pushing ourselves to explore is just core to who we are. It's a part of being a human.
And liftoff. We shall return.
Continuing to test out every bit of Orion.
Coming back to Earth, 7 miles a second.
When humanity sets big goals, we can bring together genius from around the world.
You have the best people on planet Earth putting this vehicle together.
That's what's up.
To innovate for the benefit of humanity and to inspire the world through discovery.
And here we go.
Good evening and welcome to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, and welcome to our Artemis 2 status update. I'm Rachel Kraft with NASA Communications, and we're joined this evening by several NASA leaders to share an update on how the test flight is going overall as the crew gets ready to fly by the moon. They are Dr. Lori Glaze, who leads NASA's Artemis program, Rick Henfling, Flight Director for the mission, and Kelsey Young, Artemis 2 Lunar Science Lead. We'll have some opening remarks from each of our participants, and then we'll go ahead and take questions both here and in the room and on the phone line. And as a reminder to those who are joining by phone, you can press *1 to enter the question queue. And with that, we'll start with Lori.
Great. Thank you so much, Rachel, and for your continued interest in Artemis 2. Our mission continues to go incredibly well. Our crew is healthy as we prepare and gear up to fly by the moon tomorrow. We're all extremely excited for tomorrow. We got a couple of great images that I want to share with you today, along with all of the great stuff that's available online. But we've got a few things I wanted to share this evening. We have a short video with some of what yesterday included. If we could pull up this video, it's got a lot of cool information in it. Can we see that?
This is Artemis Mission Control. You're getting a live look inside the Orion spacecraft, named Integrity by the Artemis 2 crew.
This is a magnificent accomplishment to be up here, to see the moon, to see the Earth, and to know that we are between those two celestial bodies, and you can see it when you look out the window. The Earth is almost in full eclipse, the moon is almost in full daylight, and the only way you could get that view is to be halfway between the two entities. It is truly awe-inspiring up here.
Houston, we have some Earth and Moon viewers here who are putting in requests for different motions so that they can see things in the window.
We're seeing them in the camera views, and we're enjoying it. Look at those scientists go.
And Jackie, we got Jeremy on there just for a minute before his PAO event. He's just got to look at this. As soon as I put my hands on the 400, it's just... You know, I'm not one for hyperbole, but it's the only thing I could come up with. Just seeing Tycho, there's mountains to the north. You can see Copernicus, Rainier Gamma. It's just everything from the training, but in 3 dimension and absolutely unbelievable. This is incredible.
Kathy Moonjoy.
And Houston, I can tell you that Christina now has the 400 millimeter, and she also is the queen of hyperbole. It's incredible.
Kathy Christina doing her best read impression at the window.
I love that. And I also really love how they talk about being able to see in 3 dimensions. Just helps remind us all that what we can do with our amazing human eyes is be able to see in stereo vision and get that depth perception. It's just wonderful to hear them talking through what their observations are. And I'm sure you'll hear from Kelsey about how well they've learned all their training, being able to tell us exactly the features they're looking at. We also woke up the crew today with a short a message from Apollo astronaut Charlie Duke cheering them on, and I think we get to listen to that here. Is that available?
Hello, Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy. This is Apollo 16 astronaut Charlie Duke. John Young and I landed on the moon in 1972 in the lunar module we named Orion. I'm glad to see a different kind of Orion helping return humans to the moon as America charts the course to the lunar surface. Below you on the moon is a photo of my family. I pray it reminds you that we in America and all of the world are cheering you on. Thanks to you and the whole team on the ground for building on our Apollo legacy with Artemis. Godspeed and safe travels home.
Wonderful. And then I had one last image there I think I saw come up for just a moment. This was another picture of Earth from Orion's window, and it really gives you a sense of just how far away the crew is from Earth. This was taken earlier today by Christina. I just think it's beautiful. So we're really gearing up now for what's going to be an exciting lunar flyby tomorrow. Our flight operations team and our science team are ready for the first lunar flyby in more than 50 years. I know you guys have asked questions, and we've heard them over and over again, lots of questions about what's so special about the moon. And just wanted to say a couple words. You know, the moon and the Earth are fundamentally made of the same material. You know, in the way back, the Earth, the former proto-Earth, was hit by a Mars-sized object, a massive collision that left lots of debris out in space that then coalesced into what is now Earth and Moon. So our whole Earth-Moon system literally is made up of the same materials. And so although Earth has gone through lots of evolution with plate tectonics and weathering, you know, the Moon has been there as a witness plate to see everything that's happened over the 4.5 billion years that we've been around. So very cool. So we're really excited to fly by and get to take these observations. Particularly having humans on board really complements the robotic exploration that goes on from NASA. They're definitely not mutually exclusive. We're working together hand in hand to grow our knowledge of what we know about the Earth and Moon system. There's a lot of science on this mission, not just the observations that you hear about from Kelsey, but our human health studies, such as the Avatar experiment that's being carried on board. All of these human health experiments are informing how we can keep our crews healthy on the longer missions that are coming up in the future. This mission is also the first opportunity we have for our science and engineering teams to work together in real time while our crew is at the moon. And I think this is another key piece of the science that we're doing on this mission is not just the observations, but learning how to work together between our flight operations and our science evaluation room and the crew. This is a really good example and a good test case to work through some of those things that we're going to need absolutely critically when we send our crew to the surface of the moon. It will also inform how we operate on the moon's surface during our future Artemis missions, and a great example of how everything that we're learning on this mission is going to feed forward to our longer-term presence on the moon. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Rick.
Thank you, Lori. Wanted to open by wishing everyone a happy Easter, and on behalf of the flight operations team, thanks again for your continued interest in our mission. Yesterday, the flight crew finished up their day with a manual piloting activity where they took the spacecraft into 6 degrees of freedom, 3 degrees of freedom, and then we purposely deselected a few thrusters to characterize the performance of the spacecraft with some thrusters disabled. We also performed a public affairs event with the Canadian Space Agency. We had a couple of routine medical conferences. The flight crew reviewed the science plan that our science team has put together for them. And then we also performed a few activities to help characterize the carbon dioxide removal capability of Orion. When we did a few back-to-back exercise sessions, we wanted to understand just how capable the CO2 removal system was, and the results have been very favorable to date. Today, the astronauts started their day with an opportunity to put their orange launch and entry suits back on. You can imagine that when you put your orange launch and entry suit on in 1G back in Florida, it's a lot different when you try to put it on in zero gravity. And so we gave the crew a chance to practice that before they have to do it on entry day. And since the crew were wearing their orange suits, we also used this time today to practice a few contingency scenarios where they may, if they had to spend extended time in those orange suits, how would they practice drinking their protein shake or delivering medication? And how would you set up the seats in Orion while you're wearing the bulky suits? These are things that they would need to do in a contingency, and we wanted to be able to practice these before if we found ourselves in a scenario where we would need to do them. Once we finish the suited operations, we're going to turn our focus towards trajectory correction maneuvers. We're going to perform the outbound trajectory correction maneuver number 3. This is actually going to be the first one that we actually do. We found that Orion was on such a pinpoint trajectory that we didn't need to do the first 2 correction maneuvers. The one today we're going to do later on is 9.9 feet per second. It'll take about 14 seconds, and it's going to use the auxiliary thrusters on the Orion service module. We have a few other medical conferences later today. We're going to do a demonstration of in-flight maintenance where we remove one of the panels of Orion to demonstrate that if we needed to get back behind one of the Orion spacecraft panels, we could do so and maybe perform a maintenance activity if we needed to. And then while the crew's asleep, we're going to perform a demonstration on the ground using our optical comm system. We're going to increase the bandwidth to 100 megabits per second using our optical comm system and our ground station in White Sands, New Mexico. The most exciting portion of the overnight hours here on Earth is going to be when Orion enters the lunar sphere of influence at 12:40 a.m. Eastern Time. That is significant because that's when the moon's gravity has a stronger pull over the Orion spacecraft than Earth's gravity. And so that's a significant milestone on our mission. I also wanted to comment a little bit about my console activities. I worked the past 3 days as the lead of the planning shift on console and mission control, and I just wanted to highlight the exceptional job that those teams are doing a few hundred yards away here in mission control. The planning team is in charge of making sure all of the operational products are ready for the flight crew when they wake up in the morning. They're also in charge of executing some test objectives and activities to gather data on how Orion performs as it heads out to the moon. And I just wanted to highlight just what an exceptional job that team's been doing. And one of the highlights of working the planning shift, we saw the photo that Lori showed a few minutes ago. We gathered around the console when we downlinked that image, and the planning shift is the group of about 10 people who get to see that image for the first time. So before any of the public got to see those images that you saw on social media, my planning team working the overnight hours while the crew's asleep, we were the first ones on planet Earth to see those images. So it's a pretty special time. I wanted to end my remarks with showing a video of some remarks from our pilot, Victor Glover, which I thought were particularly poignant and were worth repeating. And so let's go ahead and play that video.
In all of this emptiness, this is a whole bunch of nothing, this thing we call the universe. You have this oasis, this beautiful place that we get to exist together. I think as we go into Easter Sunday, thinking about all the cultures all around the world, whether you celebrate it or not, whether you believe in God or not, this is an opportunity for us to remember where we are, who we are, and that we are the same thing and that we got to get through this together.
All right, and that is the conclusion of my remarks. I'll hand over to our lead science officer, Kelsey Young.
Hard act to follow, both Rick and Victor. I will say, I think the copy Moonjoy is going to be like my new motto, copy Moonjoy. Speaking of which, we are coming up on the flyby tomorrow. We're getting really, really excited to hear the crew observations. We've heard some observations, Lori highlighted them, from when the moon was much smaller out the window than it's going to be tomorrow, and even those observations had a lot of science value that's already got our lunar science team churning in the background. So really excited for several straight hours of those tomorrow, and I'll talk today about what that's going to look like. In the last 24 hours since I was last here, our lunar science team completed the lunar targeting plan, which is essentially the plan, the piece of software that the crew will follow during the several-hour flyby. If you could actually bring up the screenshot of that lunar targeting plan. This is what's going to guide the crew's observations during the flyby. It is just a guide. They are the field scientists, and they are encouraged to, go off book if what they're seeing in front of them really compels them. We've even built in targets specifically for crew choice, where they can really image what pops out to them. And so what you see here is what the crew will be looking at for the entirety of the flyby tomorrow. You see on the left side a list of sort of targets that listed vertically in the top left of the screen. Those are the targets in the timelined order we're asking them to image them in. And they're in a specific order because ultimately these targets